When was the time you actually came to the realization that you were gay?
All white. It wasn't like a redneck town or anything. That wasn't against me. It was not really a fishing community, but there was a bit of the industry there. I didn't even have neighbors that were next door. It's like, I had the woods. I think a lot of kids think in some ways that they're not. But school was okay. Didn't really think anything back then. Once junior high hit, then it's like, okay, definitely we got something going on here. Now I'm starting to meet people from different communities, and I'm really not cool with this. I'm starting to kind of see, okay, well, I know what I like and I know what I don't. But how would other people react? So if anything, I think by the time I got to junior high, I may have actually taken a step forward from my own realization, but taken a step back as far as how I was going to deal with it with everybody else. So by the time I got to high school, it's like, oh man, this I just better figure something out and figure it out quick, because I can't keep doing what I'm doing. I had a couple girlfriends. Well, one, not so much a girlfriend, but it was very short term. And then one that I actually dated for quite a long time, like about a year, and we didn't actually go to school together. She was actually from another high school. But I did genuinely want to be with this girl. I thought, we had a lot in common. We just really had such a good time with each other, and it felt natural, it fell into place, and I was cool with that. Even though I knew, that other stuff was going on and that would resurface again. It wasn't by any means my way of chasing something away or anything like that. So dating this girl from another school, I didn't feel like I was out to prove anything, because if that was the case, I would have dated somebody in the school. So it was just like, okay, at this time, this works for me, but I know eventually what's going to happen, and I'll deal with it then. Yeah, so once her and I broke up, it's like, okay, well, that's fine. And it was a very mutual thing. We ended up just being really good friends after all was said and done.
Can I ask the circumstances why you broke up, or is it?
I think we just knew it's like, this really isn't going anywhere. We still wanted to be friends. There was no point in, I knew it's like, okay, I'm fighting a losing battle here anyway. Don't want to hurt this person. And it's like, all of a sudden we both just kind of clicked at the same time. It's like, okay, let's just kind of slow this down and, let's just taper it off and just be friends and be cool. And there was no ill feelings at all whatsoever. So that was fine. And then pretty much after that, it's like, okay, it's time to really deal with this. I know now that I think probably all along, there was a lot of people that knew. Maybe before I did, which that kind of sucks, because it's like, yeah, you could have filled me in. But I know now that I'm in a place where I don't have to hide it from anybody, and I never ever would. It's like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. So I just wish I had done that a bit more back then, so that I knew it. I think other people did, and it's amazing how many people I run into now from junior high and high school. And that's going to be one of the first things they'll say, is they're like, well, yeah, we pretty much figured that's what was going on. But until you know it for yourself, it's so easy for somebody in school to say, oh, well, that person's so-and-so. We all do it. We all say, well, we think we know what somebody else's deal is. Yes, that's true, and in that case, yeah, okay, you were right. But I had to deal with it my own way. So eventually I started going through the circle of friends. Family didn't happen until much later. It was over the phone. I told them over the phone. Had to get myself psyched up for quite a while. I was actually finally in a stable relationship. He's the one who actually gave me the courage to finally say, you know what? I did this with my family, you can too. So I called up, and my mother answered the phone, and a bit of small talk for a few minutes, and it's like, I have something really important I need to talk to you about. And I just went into the whole spiel. I'm just bawling already. I can barely get any English out. Bob Dylan's easier to understand. And I was just like, oh my God, am I even going to get my, warbling my way through this? And she was kind of quiet and kind of like, okay. And she didn't be like, she didn't say anything negative per se. She was just kind of quiet. I'm like, okay. I said, well, I needed you to know because it's something I've been carrying around with me for quite a long time. And, it's important that you know. This is who I really am. And I want you to be happy because this is who I am. Then she asked me if I wanted her to tell my father. And I don't know why I agreed to this, but I said, yeah, sure, why not? Because at that point, I think I was so emotionally drained from just being able to get that off my chest for her. It's like, no, I cannot. Do not put him on this phone. I cannot do that again. So I'm down there for dinner like a while after, like a week, 2 weeks, whatever it is. And it was just this cloud. It's like, I can't bring it up. Nobody else is bringing it up. And I'm like, oh my God. So he left the dinner table at one point, whatever, and there was nothing, there was no change of attitude per se. But I asked her when he left the table, I said, did you talk to him? And she said yes. And he wasn't happy about it. He wasn't ready to throw me a party. So it basically became this unspoken thing for a while. And that wasn't really good because at the same time, they weren't really acknowledging my relationship. And that actually ended up being more damaging than anything. But after a while, it's like, I just have to start finding ways to incorporate things in the conversation. Brian and I did this, Brian and I did that. This is what we buy, comparing food, shopping, anything, just to make a reference. So that it's like, so that they knew, this is the real deal. This is what my life consists of, and this is what it's about. It's not gonna change. So whatever it was, and so there was nothing really bad. It just wasn't something that they were ready to, invite him down for Thanksgiving. And unfortunately, that's the only bad thing about this, is that he was actually the one that lost out. I still have a relationship with my parents. I actually just saw them a few days ago. I think my attitude actually towards them had to change because they're getting a lot older. So any problem I had with anything like that, I've put aside, but I think we're just kind of at a comfortable level right now. I'm not about the crusade. I'm not about telling somebody else that they're wrong and that, it's like, well, if you can't accept me, then screw you. It's not that kind of thing. Everybody has their own, we all have our own issues to deal with. And if anything, me dealing with mine maybe helped me appreciate other things that other people are going through. So learn from other people's stories.